Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we are doing my 2021 bullet journal setup, which I'm very excited about. I am continuing to do my bullet journal in my Traveler's notebook, so I am using a dotted grid insert for my Traveler's notebook, and here I am decorating the cover. This is my first time decorating a cover. I didn't decorate any of my covers for 2020, so this is pretty exciting, but I decided to decorate the cover because I have like 5 inserts now that are filled and I can't tell the difference between any of them, so decorating the cover actually has some functional use, which is just to differentiate them from each other. So I just did something very simple because I kind of wanted the entire vibe of the insert to be very minimal. This insert is going to be for the entire year, so it has just like overall things that I want to keep throughout the entire year, and my dailies and my monthlies will be going into separate inserts. So here I am doing a little bit of a hand lettering thing. I'm not much of a hand letterer, and this is actually inspired by one of Sarika's hand lettering projects that she did, I think for her bullet journal in maybe 2019. And basically I took some of my resolutions for 2021 and decided to letter them together. I did find, while I was editing this, I found a typo, so if you find the typo, comment down below. I was really embarrassed when I found it, so. But yeah, I decided to color the entire thing with my Lamy Safari in an EF nib, so it took quite a while, but I really loved the texture of all of the letters and how it came out. Alright, now I am setting up my yearly overview, I guess, my future log. I am doing 4 months on a page, and if you don't know what a future log is, basically it is an overview of all of the months you want to have overviewed. I'm just doing the whole year because this insert is going to be used across the entire year. And you use it to just write out the events and any important dates that you want to remember. So for me, I will be adding in things like birthdays and federal holidays and things like that. I went with something very simple. I just wrote everything out with my fountain pens, and I am using my little stamps to stamp out the headers for every month, and I didn't fill it out yet, but I will at some point. I then decided to make a little grid page, grid reference page for the next page, because my future log took up 3 pages, which meant I had one like extra page for it to be a full spread, if you know what I mean. So I just made a very simple little overview page for how to split up the page if I need it. Just for thirds and fourths and halves. If you need any help understanding what this grid guide page is for, a lot of different bullet journalists have talked about it on YouTube, but I am also happy to make a video to help explain how you use it. So let me know in the comments. And now I'm doing something that is more specific to me. I am making a little CC's Art Cafe mail map thing. I actually ended up changing this because I didn't like how the white printer paper looked in the notebook, so I ended up ripping everything out and tracing the map. But yeah, I think overall it turned out really cute. I'm gonna color in each state as I get to send mail to them. Hopefully I will have enough orders so I get to send mail to all 50 states, but we shall see how that pans out across 2021. And now I am working on a reading list page and a movie list page. I wanted to keep these simple enough, but also like decorative enough where I would want to use them, because I am kind of notoriously bad about using these. But I do like having a record of all the books and movies I watch. I'm just bad at remembering to like write them in. So I always try to make them a little decorative so that I like am motivated to fill them in. The reading list is meant to look kind of like a library checkout card that you often see in the back or in the beginning of some library books. But instead of having like the date and the patron who checked out the book, I'm gonna have a little star rating and the title. And then of course the movie list side is just meant to look like a film strip. And yeah, I think overall it turned out really cute. I really like the texture of the coloring that I did with the fountain pen, even though my hands definitely hurt a little bit by the time I was done. Between this one and the resolutions page at the beginning, oof, my hand was sore. And next I am doing a passwords page. So I don't know if a lot of people do this, but over 2020 I had to change a lot of my passwords for just various things. So I started keeping a passwords page in my bullet journal that basically is just for helping me keep track of all the passwords I use across the internet. Obviously, be very careful if you're doing things like this. Do not write out your actual password in your notebook just in case. Write like a hint for yourself that will only make sense to you. That's what I do, just for security reasons in case anybody else finds it. But yeah, I thought this was really cute. I wanted to do something that looks like little windows on a screen, like on a computer screen. So I think overall it turned out pretty cute. Next, I am working on a When Did I Last spread. This format is actually one that I've used before. It is one that I used to use for keeping track of like when I had orders and when I posted stuff on the internet and things like that. But now I have like a pretty regular schedule and I don't really keep track of like all the orders I make in my bullet journal anymore. So I'm using this spread instead to keep track of things like watering my plants and changing out the bed sheets and changing out the pillowcases, because I do all the laundry in our house and I am a little bit bad about washing the sheets, which is not very good. So I'm trying to be better about it. So I am now going to be tracking it in my bullet journal. So hopefully this will be all filled out with like little stars by the end of 2021. And now I am just doing some little list pages. Here I am doing a gift ideas page. I'm one of those people that likes to give gifts. It's one of my love languages, and I thought that instead of always keeping everything in my head, I should start writing them out because that would be less stressful for me. So I have a gift page on the right side, and I have an ideas page for like videos and drawings and things like that on the left side. And yeah, I'm keeping everything super simple, super minimalist. And I really like how overall this entire notebook ended up feeling very minimal but still had a lot of like fun decorative elements, which is kind of what I was going for. And now I am making another list page. One of them is going to be a places I travel to spread. This is very much a wishful thinking page. Hopefully we will be able to travel again in 2021. We will see. But I guess like if we go to visit Alan's parents or my parents or anything, that will also be part of this little travel spread because we'll be leaving New York City. But yeah, hopefully I get to fill that out. If I don't, it's not a big deal. But it would be nice if I get to. And then on the opposite side, I have a page for things to check out. So movies, books, podcasts, TV shows, anything that people recommend me. I'm gonna try and keep track of them because very often I tend to forget because I suck and my brain is dead. And now we're just doing a lot of repetitive spreads here. I am doing all of my month spreads. This is not for any kind of tracking or journaling or anything. This is just for memory keeping. So in 2020 I did a doodle video for every month. Basically I doodle things that happen per day for every month, for every day of every month of the year. And I like having them all in succession because then I can see all of them back to back, and it's just really cool to see all of them together. And then because I still had quite a few pages left over, I decided to make a very small, simple little quote page with one of my favorite Winnie the Pooh quotes. And I am using the rest of the notebook as a gratitude log. So I will be starting to keep track of my gratitude in 2021. I used to do it very religiously, and then I kind of stopped in 2020. But it turns out keeping a gratitude log is pretty good for your mental health. So I'm gonna start doing that again. And now we have our final flip through of the entire notebook. I really like how everything turned out. For some information on the things that I used my two Lamy Safari pens. They both have EF nibs. One of them is filled with Pilot Irishizuku Takesumi ink, which is black. The other one is filled with J. Herbin, something in French, Lia de Thé. It's like the tea-colored ink. I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation. That's the brown. And then I used a pencil, and I also used my TWSBI with Fuyu Syogun, which is a gray ink, but I only used it on one page, so you maybe did not notice it. And then everything else, the stamps are from an Etsy shop that I'll have linked below, and the stickers are mine. They're from my shop. And the washi tapes are also from an Etsy shop, which I will also link below. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful and maybe give you some ideas for what to put in your bullet journal for 2021. I am so excited for 2020 to be over. We're almost there. I hope you're all doing very, very well. I hope you are staying safe this holiday season. The Georgia Senate runoff is happening. Early voting has started, so please make sure to vote if you are in Georgia and to help out if you can, whether that's through donation or petitions or whatever. Everything will be linked as usual down below. And as always, thank you so much for being part of my cozy little space on the internet. I love you all. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I don't know what other holidays there are, but Happy New Year. Yeah, I'll see you next week with a studio vlog. Bye, friends.